Aloha, everybody. Welcome back to another dose of positivity. I'm super excited to see all of you here live. And for those of you tuning in Facebook and the LinkedIn channel, thank you so much for being here. And for those of you who are listening to the replay, you are in for an incredible treat no matter where you are, what time in the year you listen to this. You will want to come back to this interview time and time again, because I have in the house with me the beautiful Alvita Soleil. She's the woman who wrote the forward to my book, Living Like the Future Matters. And she is, we'll get to her bio in just a minute. But as people are coming into the house, and before we dive into health, wellness, self-empowerment, and the new paradigm in healing, I just wanted to remind everybody that this is a live show, and we are so excited for you to share your wisdom, your brilliance, ask your questions, and just put them in the chat. And towards the end, if you would like to raise your hand and come on stage or stay on after the show and talk with Alvita direct, you're welcome to do that. We love those conversations. So thank you so much again for being here. And here is just a little something that I wanted to share with you that kind of ties into this whole equation of health and wellness, self-empowerment, and especially this new paradigm in healing. And as many of you know, I have been a businesswoman since I'm 20 years old. That is, if you read the book that Alvia wrote this forward to. And, you know, I got myself really sick in a pickle, and this was in 2002, and then when I met Alvita for the first time, and she was one of the healers who got me out of my funk. I lost 40 pounds with her help and guidance. In addition to that, gained my health as I lost toxins. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this section while people are coming in. Hello, everybody. Welcome. And to kind of tie this all together, because what we're talking about is each of you has your own paradigm for healing and also your own paradigm for suffering. So what we're doing is today gathering our wits about ourselves and talking about self-empowerment. And Alvita is going to be sharing some incredible tools with you all. So listen up, because you are in for promises to be a radiant symphony of positivity. And with this wisdom, you can use it as a ripple effect to not only heal yourself, but those around you. So I'm going to read this because this was a paradigm shift for me when I got really sick, and having met Alvita and all the things, you know, I was really good at business, right? So I did this whole thing. And if you want to read the whole thing, it's in Restoring Planting Seeds for the Future in my book. I know some of you already have my book. But if you want to read the whole section, but the section is called Ecology and Economic Mindset Plan. And here we go. This was my paradigm shift. Based on my knowledge of food and business and my new gut wisdom and all I had learned from Alvita, I established a new strong interconnection with my entire being that guided me to develop a plan that worked for me. I figured if I paid as much attention to my health as I did about my businesses, I could turn my life around upside down faster. The foundation of businesses, any business, are cash flow, balanced books, profit and loss. I put my business savvy to work. I monitored how much I ate, slept, drank, and exercised, and I balanced intake and output. I added in more fun, more healthy food, more exercise, new friendships, healers that understood that the body could heal itself. And I absorbed the tropical lifestyle. My efforts equated to weight loss and profitable energy. Thus, the capital gain. Small and large victories were put into my memory bank. My accomplishments were noted, and they were stored as excellent investments that compounded interest, because I could fall back on the wisdom. Positive thoughts became assets. I accrued self-worth, and I mastered my mindset. My workaholic mania morphed into one of a healthaholic. The bottom line, I would gain health and lose toxins. And with no further ado, I want to thank you right up front, Alvita, for being one of those amazing people and what the wisdom that you bring to the world that helped me get through that funk and continues to help me thrive. So this is a little bit about Alvita, and this bio doesn't even touch upon her magnificence, but we'll get into that in just a minute. Dr. Alvita Soleil is a doctor of Oriental Medicine. She is a licensed acupuncturist. She's a healer, an artist, a teacher, and a student of life. Love that. Oriental medicine, energy medicine, and human consciousness have been her dedication and passion for the past 42 years. She studied various healing modalities such as massage, acupuncture, spiritual healing and counseling, ginseng do, biogenic medicine, live cell blood analysis, and modern Western psychology even before receiving her acupuncture degree from the American College of Traditional Medicine in 1982. She graduated as a doctor of Oriental Medicine from the Institute of Oriental Medicine in China, Real McCoy, in 1988. For 20 years, she operated a successful holistic clinic in Mill Valley, California, and her unique approach to health and wellness was sought after. Readers of the San Francisco Focus magazine voted her one of the top alternative medicine doctors in the Bay Area. Having dealt with many of her own health challenges, which I'd like to jump into a little today, if you don't mind, Alvita. Alvita emphasizes preventative detoxification, strengthening the body, regulating the nervous system, awakening the mind, and empowering the spirit. She currently practices in her clinic in the Aloha Health Clinic in Waimea and in Hawaii. And she has an incredible, exciting workshop coming up, and we're going to put all that information in the chat. So make sure you have a look, and we'll talk a little bit about it. Alvita, love, welcome to A Dose of Positivity.
Thank you, Donna. Thank you for inviting me for your show. This is awesome. I'm so grateful to be here, and hello everybody. Yes, hello.
So great.
So perhaps maybe before we start, maybe let's connect with each other, yeah, because we are here. And with that connection, there is nothing with that connection. So maybe we can just settle in the now time. All right, just be here now and just breathe for a moment and just be grateful that we are here in this beautiful island and the sun is shining and we are alive and well and in connection, even though sometimes we don't recognize that with everything. So just breathe that deeply within us, and that can just settling in, bringing our presence here. Thank you. You know, Donna, I was reading your blog yesterday, and I mean, without paraphrasing you, you mentioned that the true healing, the true nature of healing is in restoring harmony and balance in every aspect of our being. And this is so true that, we have to address not just the symptoms, but also the underlying cause of the imbalance. Yeah. So healing is not for the faint of heart, not at all. I think healing is for the brave heart and soul. I think we can agree with that, right? And it requires courage, it requires authenticity, time, and money, certainly. And above all, a strong desire to heal. Without the desire to heal, I don't think we can heal. Yeah. So for me, healing is not a passive commodity that can be delivered or purchased. You take the blue pill or you take the red pill or even the orange pill. It's not really about that. Or neither, it's also the composite of quantifiable data emerging from blood and urine, you know. And yes, it is important still to get, the right diagnosis, the right health program, finding the right doctor, which can be sometimes a challenge, right? Uh, healing our gut, removing the heavy metals from our body, those things. So it's all of that. And also, let's not forget that healing, the healing also, the deep childhood and ancestral trauma that has been passed on from generation and generation. And actually, there is a quote from John Donoghue. I'm sure you know that beautiful poet here. He said, "May my mind come alive today to break the dead shell of yesterday, to risk being disturbed and changed." I think that quote, to me, that says it all. Um, and I'm talking to you now, Dana, but I think you know what I'm saying, and I think the audience is also understand what I'm saying, which is so beautiful because whether recognized or not, I think most of us experience that that disconnect that I think all of us have on some level. Sometimes it's loud and sometimes it's more fit. But that separation, that alienation, uh, I call that also the incoherence, lives within us. We are living in a world of duality. So that separation lives inside of us and also within us as well. It's not just here, but it's out there, and also with other human beings, and certainly with the world, that we are seeing around us. With the relationship with nature, with our world. So, in some ways, we are all prisoners of our perceived conditioning. And this is important to really get that because we are all the same. And as such, we deprive ourselves of our primary sense of wholeness, of health, and also of the sense of belonging to that seed of love that once was held sacred and is still inside of us. Yeah. So, like you said, Donna, it's not just about curing the disease, it's really addressing the whole being and far more than just personality, or mind.
One thing I love everything you're saying. I mean, this is bringing that whole consciousness piece, and we can choose the consciousness of being a prisoner in our own selves, or we have the ability to open it up. There is no key there that is keeping you locked in, and that's what I think is the hardest thing, especially like you mentioned earlier about this inner trauma and this old patterning. And although we are all the same because we are all one, each of us has a unique story and has a unique
That's
way,
right. We each
like
have a
Mia.
story we carry. Yeah. And this is what the whole of healing is to provoke change and stir the growth.
Mhm.
That's the beauty of it,
Get out of
you
our
know.
comfort
And
zone,
it
right?
Yeah, and that means it required to let go of, the big fear out there, and trusting our innate intelligence
Mhm.
and also having the experience of the creative force that runs through our blood, that runs through our veins, and that force that is unconditionally loving. And we don't know very much of that. We are discovering that. Yeah.
Well, when you
And
work, when I just was going to say that because I think that's really important what you're saying right now to empower, because we're talking about empowering, right? Like what is like one of the key things, or give us even three key things, because I want to stay in this vein that you speak about. that you can share with us to help us break these patterns or to help us escape the prison?
Well, I think there is many, fortunately, you know, specifically, in the field of energy psychology, there is many. And, and, um, and the key is to be able to see what fits you. How do you resonate to a certain modality? And I think that is the key. There is quantum healing, there is sound healing, there is Ayurvedic, there is acupuncture. I mean, you name it, it's all there. And the power lies when basically when we are able to pause for a while, to be present with ourselves and to breathe out. So we come back here, we come back in the present moment. And with the breath that bridge the inner and the outer. So then we come back to balance to be able to listen and to surrender to that inner voice of wisdom, basically, or to be aware of what's going on. And then we can make conscious choice. And to me, that's the first things to do in everything, actually. But we forget that, most of us. So it's good to have some reminders, right?
Oh, these are good reminders. So I want to just repeat what you said because I think it's worth repeating because
Those three things: pause, breathe, listen, and remember.
I love it.
And then you choose.
Surrender to that, everybody. Surrender to that. I must surrender. I love that. So we'll put TJ, put that in the chat. Pause, listen.
No, pause, you breathe. So you pause to be able to really come into your body first. Mm-hmm. And that means you forget the mind here for a moment because we live all in the mind most of the time, right? 95% of the time, maybe even more. So by pausing, we come back to that present time and we breathe first out. We exhale. Yeah? Yeah. Good. Come back in that precious moment. So then we breathe gently because the breath is the inner and the outer bridge. Mm.
And this is how we self-regulate
Slowing
our
breath
health.
And long exhalation. And we regulate the nervous system that way, right? So we are able to listen. What's going on? And we can surrender to that. And then hopefully we can trust that and making conscious choice about what we are aware of. Yeah. Yeah. I think self-awareness is one of the key ingredients that it's a go-to, that permits, healing, basically. Yeah.
So this can self-regulate our health, our environment.
It can. Oh, yes.
Our lives in the fast-changing world. So that's.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is many tools like that, but this one is a simple one that we can use anytime.
So would you consider this your number one hack? Health hack?
I would say so. Yeah.
Pretty simple because we're all breathing all the time. We just kind of forget, right? So.
But we don't know we are breathing. So the awareness, this is it. Above all, to me, the most powerful tool, the most powerful instrument in healing is our own self-development, our own self-awareness of what's going on. So we start with that. Yeah. Yeah. Because we know with all the things that is going on in the world, we have to become more resilient and empower ourselves, to deal with this amazing revolutionary time, we are living in. So how can we trust? How can we trust ourselves? How can we trust to make the right decision in everything, not just health, but in life? How do we choose? And this is the reason why, actually, one of the reasons that I designed actually BEAM, the bioenergetic method alignment.
Good. Well, we are going to get into that in just a little bit. I really want to give people, do you think at this time, do you want to have people maybe even gather a few things that they might want to test? Give some suggestions?
Maybe not yet.
Okay. So
Maybe to,
no,
not that. Maybe I can start defining a little bit of what
yeah,
beam is.
yeah, no, no,
Would
no.
that be
I was
okay?
just saying they could gather some things or think about it while we're doing it, because I have several questions I want to ask you right now about all of this. Like, especially, all I was saying is if people want to try the beam method, is to have maybe some foods they might be allergic to, or things in their home that might not be making them feel good and they're not sure. Little things, it might be laundry detergent or your dish soap or something. Just have that nearby, because we're going to be
Well,
doing
probably maybe some food, maybe
food.
that you might think that you might be sensitive to. Maybe we can start there.
That's good.
That would be a good thing. And I think it would be nice to do a little demonstration maybe later on. Yeah.
Yes, I
But
like
I
that.
think we need, before the demonstration done, I think it would be relevant to know what bioenergetic testing method is, and also what is that testing, that which I call energy testing. It's a form of muscle testing. Yeah.
And even
Should we
before
go for
that
that?
too.
What do
Yeah,
you
no,
think?
no, exactly. That's what I was just suggesting people think about gathering those things while we're continuing the
Good.
conversation, because I really like the idea of because this is all about empowerment, right? And you kind of touched upon the spiritual aspects of it, and people who know me have listened to the show. I'll say it every show: the closer we get to nature, the closer we get to our true nature, because I am an ecologist and a naturalist and a transcendentalist first. And that's what one of the things that has attracted to me to you for so long. I was both of our love for nature, and how you even bring nature into all of your art and everything in your gardens, beauty. So I would love to talk about that in relationship to health, and then dive a little bit deeper into how that relates to spirituality and healing, how you use nature and spirituality with your clients, as you've done with me.
Well, let me just put it blankly here. You are a nature person. I think, you and I go on a walk and and you take mostly picture, and it's amazing. We are in awe in so many things. The flowers on the tree, and to me, again, we are dealing here with the strong imprint that we are separated from nature, that nature is out there. The fruit tree is out there, the flowers is out there, the sunlight is out there. You are out there. And in fact, we are nature. We are true nature. Nature lives inside of us. And it's hard to conceptualize that, because we don't have any much reference point to it. We have not been taught that. But when you are in nature, which you like so much, it's like you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
You really feel good, right?
You're really breathing the
And
fresh
you
air. It's
breathe,
time to.
and that's it. And that's what we are after. It's that feeling good tone, feeling good aspect of ourselves that nourishes us. That joy of seeing so much beauty. It's like no separation between the divine love and that. None. So our task, our healing, is to take it in through our breath, perhaps. Again, by pausing, taking the time to absorb. And
Yes.
this is so healing. This is so healing. Same thing as laughter. When was the last time you laughed really hard? When was that? So this is my prescription for you.
For
All of
everybody.
us.
Yeah.
All of us. Oh my God.
Oh, and speaking of that, I'm going to have TJ pop in the blog, because when you just said that about the laughter yesterday, and Shane will attest to this, we're going to be going into beam now, and I want you all to look at the light to the left of Alvita, because that is, beam me up, Scotty. There's a 31, if you go to the blog, we'll put the blog in now, and you don't have to listen to it now, but it's 31 seconds of beam me up, Scotty. Really, beam me up to a higher consciousness,
Have to
beam
look
me
at
up to
that.
safety, beam me up to health. Shane will tell you, I was just laughing my head off. And this is a time to just say thank you, Shane and TJ, for being here. Both these girls are responsible for helping me bring these show alive, and I really appreciate you both so much.
Thank you,
And
TJ
also,
and Shen.
yeah, really, really great. So I did have a good heart laugh. So Alvita, you bring up a great point. So it's 31 seconds where you guys can just crack up. Most of you who are on the live call right now are about my age, and you're going to remember Star Trek. And it just, just like, so take
Okay, I
Alvita's
will watch
medicine.
that for sure.
All right, good. So keep going. You're on a roll. I love this.
Okay, so what do you think, Donna? Should we talk about beam now? What that is?
Yeah, I would want you to dip your toes a little bit more. Besides the breathing, the consciousness of all of this conscious health and the spiritual vibration of what we have the ability to tap in. I mean, you know the science, the research, you know the Bruce Liptons of the world. So I'd like for you to elaborate that on that because at the very beginning of the show, you used a word that really struck a chord, which was the word prison. We're all prisoners in our own mind. And I don't ever see myself as a prisoner, but I think a lot of people do. And I think that that is that spiritual piece and the healing you help me with so much. Whenever you work on me, you're always praying, you're tapping, you're doing a lot of deep spiritual work. So I'd like to talk about that and then how that has led you to Beam and how all of those things get you through, like finding your keys.
Yes, finding keys. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, for me, the biggest key that I found about, I would say 40, but 45, 48 years ago, actually, is the muscle testing. I would like to really get to that because very few people really understand what that is. And I would like to demystify with that. And that's what I do in the workshop I do. I teach, the energy testing, which to me is the most remarkable tool that there is. And I do a lot of things, but this one really is so close to my heart. And it's close to my heart because it brings us back to what we know already inside of us. It touches on the quality of presence, the quality of surrender, the quality of trust, the quality of intention and focus. There is so many elements that is playing to be able to test and being accurate in the test and very accurate actually. So the I don't like to call it muscle testing because we don't test muscle. We don't do kinesiology. And this energy testing actually uh, uh, is a way of asking the body if what we are doing is having a positive energetic impact on us. Is it strengthening us or is it making us weaker, making the body weaker? And through a simple, basically Owing test, which was created by Dr. Omura, Yoshaki Omura, an MD that still live in Japan. It's a phenomenal thing. He patented this method in, I think, 1983, and he did some breakthrough in the hospital. He was able to actually, he claimed that in many instances, the O-ring test, which is that we will go into that, in a short while. The O-ring test is more sensitive and flexible than current standard medical test. So what it does, it apply that O-ring test and discover even the most minute illnesses, cancer, for example, even the teeny little piece of cancer. And what is it made of? So that's phenomenal. So I invite, perhaps maybe the audience, if they want to go to Dr. Omura by Digital O-ring test. He has several video online, and it is quite remarkable what he does. It's very inspiring. Yeah.
And don't worry, you guys, we'll get that link in here so you can download the chat and have
Yeah.
that link. Did you already give that to TJ? The
So
link.
it's Dr.
Link.
Omura Biodigital O-ring test.
So look up
And if you just dial that, you will come out with a lot of video. And the video one is particularly really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
we were
basically,
talking before you got into Beam, though. I had wanted you to touch on, did you get to this Beam through a more spiritual approach to healing, or is this more of a medical thing? Because we were talking about.
well, you know, when I was 25, I was married then, and I realized my relationship is not really what I wanted. And I was very confused on what to do, very confused. And I asked a girlfriend, I do, and she lent me a pendulum. And I said, okay, you figure it out. So that's really how I started with doing pendulum work. And actually, I became quite famous actually in finding some lost animals and water. So that's how I started. And then I remarried to an amazing MD, and he was already doing the muscle test. So I learned from him also as well. He was one of my mentors until he passed away. And from that, it becomes so much part of my life. You use it not just for medical things, but for everything in your life. Everything.
Give us some examples of everything, like losing your keys and so forth.
Yeah, I think I told you the story the other day.
Yeah, but I mean, just in general, they can use it for like trying to find something, or trying to know whether this person that you're with is how they're making you feel, or
Yeah.
tapping into.
Yeah, so you can use the application is really unlimited from the most specific to the most mundane, way of using it. In my practice, I use it every day. I, I have some chart that I design, and I can go through, minerals, vitamins, neurotransmitter, amino acid. I can evaluate what's going on basically in the body in a very short time, and it's very, very accurate. So yeah, it's, to me, it's the most revolutionary tools that there is. And that can be even detected outside of the regular Western test, mainstream test. Yeah. And that energy testing, actually, that seems so simple in many ways, but it's not. It's incredibly complex and nuanced. And this is why people say, uh-oh, it does not work. It's not for me. I think practices and staying with it is makes it works. Yeah.
So, one of the questions: do you believe man knows more than woman? And I wanted to get a laugh, and I said, I mean, does man know more than God? Right, sticking on the spiritual.
Okay, I could not hear you. Can
It
you
wanted
repeat
to,
that?
Alan asked, do you believe man knows more than God? And it's so funny. So I was getting I hope I got a laugh out of you, Alan, but I said maybe woman, but not man. That's part of the problem with this whole paradigm, is putting too much emphasis on God as man, God is in everything. But that's another story for a replay. And actually, speaking of replays, TJ put in Alvida's last show that she did several months ago. It was fabulous, as well as this one. And so why don't you dive right in? You seem ready to go with the beam and the example, and sharing with us the technique and how to do that, unless you want to answer Alan's question. Do you believe that man knows more than God, and I so maybe woman? But do you have anything that you want to say to that? I think he was addressing the question to you.
Well, I think the mind is so much used to see things in polarity, you know, and the healing is about healing the separation.
Yeah.
So it's about the energy being, the goddess being that live inside of us. Is the
Yeah.
universe being, it's the light being. It's so much
Yeah.
more than just the men and the woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
I think so. I think so. Um, Alan, I hope that answers your question. I don't know who Kevin was talking to, but anyway, as far as showing us a demonstration, I'm going to make sure everybody has things that they might want to try this with, because you're ready to dive into this, I can tell, and I would really love to do this with you as well. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good, 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 good. So, well, first of all, actually, I'm going to ask a question to everybody. And to me, this is a very deep question here. And it's a level of experience here. So, we are the earth body, right? We are the universe body that knows no separation. It cannot be separated from its own source. So now, with your mind's eye, try to take a step toward yourself. Where do you go? Where do you go? It's an interesting question, yeah? So that's basically what energy testing is about. That the answer is inside of us, is not outside of us, instead of out there. This is huge.
mm-hmm.
Shall we do a demonstration, Donna? What do you
Yeah,
think?
yeah, yeah. That's what I thought you were going to do. Let's just dive right
Okay,
into that.
let's dive right into it.
Dive
Okay,
right in, girl.
so basically, with the practice of O-ring or energy testing, right, we determine what makes the body strong, life enhancing. We expand, we serve ourselves, what basically is beneficial for us. Okay, that's the first one. Second one, we can determine also what makes the body weak, what is harmful for us. And that means we feel contracted by that. It's detrimental. Okay, we're living in a world of duality, right? Okay. Also, it determines what's true and false. And that's from the work of Dr. Hawking. And fourthly, it can determine also how much is it good for me? Not just a yes and no answer, but also how much is it a yes? Really remarkable, right? So when we place a substance, basically, for example, on the body, and it's good to place it on the solar plexus, and we test, basically. So we place a substance. Actually, maybe I should demonstrate first of all first, right? So we form an O with our finger, okay, with the thumb and the third finger, or you can use also the pinky. I like to use the third finger of the non-dominant hands, okay? And if you are right-handed, you do vice versa. So this is the O-ring, basically, pad to pad, okay? And you just move your finger. I don't know if people can see me. You move your finger slightly. Don't just do your third finger, like, this finger? You remember that?
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, okay.
Sadie?
Okay. So you make an O-ring and you do the pad to pad. Just feel the energetic between your fingers. And you start moving slightly back and forth like that. Yeah. Until you find that there is a stickiness to it. And then you stop there. Okay. Now you take the other hand and you are going to uh, uh, you are going to basically to form a beak with your second finger and your thumb. Okay, so you are just like a beak. You have an O and you have a beak, right? So you are going to insert, basically, call it the beak, right? In the O-ring test. Okay, in the O-ring. Okay, and you keep the beak inside of the O-ring and you start to separate the forefinger this way to break basically the O-ring. And you use it like maybe like a flickering motion to be able to force the opening. Okay, so that's basically that piece here, right? And okay, so you hold either a thought form or you hold a substance on your tummy here on the third chakra here, and you are ready, and you let certainly have the finger the same pressure, and you say, okay, I'm holding, and you let your finger basically are going to do the talking. So you hold in mind the substance, but without the attachment to it. Oh, this is good for me, or this is bad for me, or shall I do this, or maybe this is not the right product, or so forth. You let go of the mind. And yet, you are in contact, you connect with it, but without the attachment. Okay? That's where the meditation, practice comes in. And then you hold basically that thought form in your mind without the attachment, and you test. So if the fingers stay together, it's a good thing. That means your body resonates to it. If your body gets weak, there's no resonance. You can give it to somebody else. Yeah? Or you have to use something else. So we have to find the resonance that brings a yes to our entire body, basically. Does that make sense so far? I cannot hear you.
I just want to say a couple things, because I've done this with Alvita several times. And, if your body's super toxic, it doesn't work as well. But when you're really not as toxic, it works genius. But one of the things that I have learned to do, well, she's helped me define what supplements are good for me, certain foods that are good for me. But also, sometimes, should I go to a party, you put that beak in the O-ring. And if your hand is strong, get your ass out the door. And if it opens wide up, maybe it's more self-care. And that's how that's that spiritual end, or that emotional component, that this beam technique works really well for me.
Well, that's the diversity of the application of it.
Yes.
You could use it on the physical level, you can use it on the neurological level, on a structural level, any form of kind of energetic level, you can use it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's you can go very deep with that. And then, like for me, I live my life by it. What food to eat. Shall I go, like you said, shall I go to this party? This party, yeah, it might be a good thing, but is it really good for me? Is that really serving me? And that's what we are after.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want just a little yes. We want yes.
Mm-hmm.
Going to this party, going to that show, or inviting, or whatever it is, we want a yes all the way.
So
And we want
yeah. I want to understand like the mechanics or the kinesiology, like it's like how is this, like I remember when I was a kid, I used to put my arms on the side of a door jamb, and then they would rise up. And I sort of get that same feeling when I put the beak in the hole, like, you know, if I'm going to be open or closed, because it really is your strength or your will, right? That's what we're getting at here.
But it's not the will. It's not the strength. It's
What
on
is
a
it?
totally different level that we acknowledge that it's not a mind thing. It works with the subconscious level
Okay.
and with the autonomic nervous system. It was on a whole different level. And and this is why I'm a little bit apprehensive, to show you how to work. Yeah, it would be, yeah, I can do that. And yet it requires practice and to be good at it. And there is also a certain protocol that we need to adapt because we want accurate answer, Donna. We
Yeah.
want answer also that can be duplicable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there is a successful format that I teach, and that is, well, first of all, we have to be in the body. And like you said early on, if we have some trauma already in the brain or some neurological disorder, or if we are dehydrated, for example, if if our eyes are looking in different ways, is my fingers the same pressure? What is my attitude about it? Am I stressed
Mm-hmm.
about it? What's my intention?
Mm-hmm.
We have to find that neutrality of mind where there is absolutely no preference, none.
Well, I love everything that how this is coming like full circle back to that prison. This is kind of like the key that's going in the lock to unleash, like what's keeping me a prisoner, right? Or what makes me feel free. And then I have that thought, and it really does work. It like kind of kinesiology. I know it's
Yeah,
not
and
kinesiology.
also,
It
Donna,
really
you
works.
have to, right. And formulating the question plays a big role also here, huge role, because whatever answer you will have will be according to the answer you will ask.
Yes. And I
So,
think, yeah, also something you said earlier that was so profound to me is, um, this the breathing and the listening and this surrendering and the pausing. Um, it all comes back to being, because if you have all of that, that's then you're taking the time not to listen to the noise around you, but you're taking the time to do this, to see that where that strength
well,
lies.
where we are taking the time to is to engage a deeper relationship with our own self, with our own knowing.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually our mind is so busy. Shall I do this? Shall I do that? Oh, that looks better than that. And shall I do the green or the blue? It's like we go on. But if we can stop and align with our own knowing that we have all of that capacity, but we need to cultivate that capacity.
Yes.
And so, in somewhere, self testing, and you can also test others, is a deep form of meditation, deep form of meditation that align you to source.
Yeah.
And when we are there, we know,
Yeah.
we know.
I love that.
So that's the promise of energy testing. Yeah.
Listen, we can you believe we only have 10 minutes left?
Oh,
And
Mama,
I
okay.
know, right? So I want you to think I have just a couple of quick announcements. And
Yes,
I
go
want to
for
see
it.
if there's any questions on Facebook or LinkedIn on the chats and I just want to remind anybody who's listening to the replay, thanks a lot for subscribing and also liking, and put your comments in there because we address every comment. And there'll be all the ways in the YouTube channel and also in the shop, not Shopify, what am I talking about? In the podcast stations, Anchor and Spotify, where we'll have Alvida's, how you can get a hold of her and find out more about her work and her techniques and her upcoming workshops that she does usually annually. But I also wanted to mention next week, um, I have another exceptional guest on coming in from the East Coast, from New Jersey, actually. She happens to be one of my best friends, my BBF from high school, and best friends forever. Anyway, her daughter is now in her 30s, and she is a registered dietitian and also a holistic health healer. And she's going to be talking about diet and nutrition pretty scientifically. She's a researcher as well, and she's lots of knowledge. And so I hope you guys will all tune in for that. And if you haven't already put your email in the chat and you want to get updates from all of that, just pop your email in there and you'll be on our subscriber list. So, and also one other thing that I did want to mention that I didn't mention earlier is most of you know Tel is still fighting for her life in China. We still have a GoFundMe going for her. We've raised just from our show load several $100s. And whether it's $5, $10, anything you can do, $100, whatever, we want to bring Tel home. Tel used to do what TJ and Shane do for me, and she's still in the background championing us on, and we just want to bring Tel home. She's only 36 with 3 kids, so thank you for your support. And that link is in the chat. And this is going to be an ongoing battle. And I donate all my profits, 100% of my profits, to social and environmental causes, in addition to the environmental groups I'm helping to get Tel well. So if you're interested, we'll put our website in there, EcoSpired, and any products from my books, coaching services, culinary classes, and also my artwork goes to help support Tel. So I really appreciate you guys checking that out. And you know, we're not here on a dose of positivity. This isn't you know, we're not trying to make money, but we are trying to direct you to people like Alvita, who is doing incredible work. And she does have these workshops coming up. And I know some of you, most of you aren't on the Big Island on the show live today, but we will make sure the replay gets out to our Kohala people. And hopefully someday you'll do this online so you can have online presence with this, because it is an incredible tool to keep us away from prison and to free our souls. So you know, with all of that said, I hope you'll read the blog. I hope you'll get the laughter. And for the remainder of the show, Alvita's just going to take us home with any last words of wisdom. We'll put, like I say, we'll check if there's any more questions. But Alvita, you have the rest of the show just to share any last pointers or
All
anything
right,
you
very
want to
good.
do.
Wow, okay. Well, coming back to healing, we started with that, yeah, with the nature of healing. So I would say that most of us in our journey of healing are seeking to break free from the spell of separation and the suffering, basically. When we are separate from things, we suffer. So the journey of healing is a sacred pilgrimage that we take together. You know, we inspire each other. We are not meant to heal alone. We're not. We heal with each other. We inspire each other. And we are designed to support each other through the fear that comes with change and growth. You know, so this is the evolution of the collective. And there is nothing more powerful than a group of like-minded people coming together for change and self-empowerment. So the seed of all possibilities lies in this moment, in our hands and in our hearts. Yeah. And I certainly the science and that is now coming up really lines up with all what the mystics and yogi have said all along. We are so much more than we ever imagined. So join me May 4th and 5th for that BEAM workshop that will be in Kohala. If you have any question, call me at 808-896-1008 or go to my website, consciouschoiceacademy.org. See you soon. And
Awesome.
thank you, Donna, for inviting me. You are awesome. Blessing, blessing, blessing for
Blessings, blessings,
shows
blessings.
and all the books that you are inspiring people.
Yeah,
I'm
and same to you. I'm so grateful for your time, and we're going to be promoting her workshops in our Facebook group, and you guys can join our Facebook group too anytime. And they're just fabulous, and Alvita is just a caring, loving human and a wonderful teacher on many, many levels. So thank you so much, Dr. Alvita Soleil, and everybody who attended
blessing,
live and in the
blessing to
Facebook
everyone.
group. Yes, and we will see you all next
Aloha.
week on A Dose of Positivity with Chandler Ray. And aloha to you too, Alvita. Mahalo to everyone. Big, big love and aloha.